All right, so I'm going to do a little demonstration of the techniques that I use to build most of my kites. And today we'll be starting on a cube kite. So the first thing I do, of course, is do my illustrations and do some thumbnail sketches. So I just use a little template there to make 1-inch squares and then do doodling inside till I find an image that I like and then color it in, see if it works. So this is an example. This is one of the wing series that I've been working on for the last month. This has been inspired by Jose's Revolution feathers. So I'm tilting it 90 degrees here, this mirror, to see what it'll look like as a cube. And so the one we're going to work on today is this one here. And just putting that mirror up, I can see what it looks like both sides, and then tilt it at a 90, what it looks like, making sure the eyes aren't too narrow on it. Once I get that image that I like and colored in, then I just hand draw on butcher paper or craft paper the image, use a Sharpie to color in the lines. These other lines here, kind of afterthought for the next one that I do. I'll have some other designs inside there for the next kite that I do. Once I get this finished, then I take the background color or the base color and transfer the drawing onto the paper. So that's just traced through there and both sides. Then I've got pre-cut pieces here that I've already cut to fit. And so this piece here is going to fit in there, something like that. And so all these pieces are ready to be painted. And so we'll go doing the painting next. All right, so a quick little video of the painting area. So what this is, a corner in the garage that I've been using for the last 30 years now. And just have a 4x8 sheet of MDF board. And got a fan there at the window. Another paint board for taller pieces. Paint cans, more paint cans in the window. Heat gun. And I just tape the pieces on there and then just start painting away. So I'll do that next. Okay, so I've got this taped up and I'm going to wipe it down with a damp cloth to get rid of fingerprints, any dust that's on there. Okay, get a little heat gun to dry it. Make sure there's not any static on it. Paint can ready. There it goes. So I'm going to put a little red paint right through here and just right along there. Okay, that's that for that side. Now I'll do the other side. Okay, so I flipped it over, wipe it down again. I can barely see the pencil lines through this, but I can see where the paint was at. So this is actually going to be the front of the kite. I'm going to dry it off again. And then just do the same thing. Now I'll just dry it with the heat gun. And once the shine is gone off of the paint, it's dry, so that one's done. Alrighty, I'll go ahead and paint the rest of the pieces and start putting it together. All right, so here's another piece. We'll just put a little red paint on this one. And I've got the tape outside of the pencil line. Okay, that one's done and that side's done. Now I'll flip it over. All right, so here's the next part that's done. And what I've done here is just put up a mask, a piece of illustration board, spray a little paint there, just a mist, and then shift down and just shift it down, spray a little more each time. Let's just get that shadowing effect. All right, now I just need to flip it over and do the other side. All right, now that we're finished with the painting, as I'm painting new pieces, I just put them over here on the Miata drying rack. So this is Mary Lynn's 2001 Miata that's under the covers and in storage for the winter. But that's where the parts or pieces just dry, and I'll come and get them when I need them. Okay, so we've got all the pieces inside. Now we're just getting ready to lay it all out on the black here, line everything up. I use a little bit of Scotch tape to hold everything down. I don't use hot tack or spray mounted adhesives or anything. Just a teeny little bit of tape, and but not in the area that's going to be shown, not in a painted area that'll be shown. And I'll just put it all together and I'll show that. All right, so here I've put the white for the eyes. This is on the back side of the drawing. And I just use a little bit of tape to hold that piece down. And then I'll put on the next layer. All right, and so on this particular one, I can seal the edges. I can hot cut the edges. So I just use a steel ruler there. I use these weights just to hold the fabric down, hold things down. Everybody has different ways of holding fabric down. And so that's all sealed along that edge. Now it's just ready to sew and then start the applique. So this is all sealed in there. Nothing's going to slip or slide. Everything's lined up, had little registration points, and it's all good to go. So we'll do the sewing, and I don't think I'll have to show that, but we'll do the next part, the applique. All right, so the back is sewn, and now I'm ready to start doing some applique and cutaway. Yeah, I know a lot of folks use lots of different techniques to get into the fabric and cut away. Some of them use pins to poke it through. I just use this seam ripper, and I know some folks will pinch the fabric and then cut it with scissors. But what I found is just this little seam ripper works pretty good. The nice thing is you can see underneath, like on one layer, I can see the tip of it. So I know I'm just going through the one layer. So I can just, and then I can just insert the scissors and cut away. So we'll show that in just a second. Particular piece here, I'm going through 3 layers to get down to the black. So I'm going to start on this inside curve here. It's easier to cut an inside curve than this outside curve. Once the inside curve releases that pressure of the fabric pulling it, it's easier to cut this outside curve. So I'll go ahead and get started on that once I find the black. There it is. Okay. So now this is 1.5 ounce material, so I'm going through 3 layers of the fabric. And just barely have the scissors open. Some people use different things to cut away with. I've seen seam rippers, big scissors, all kinds of tools to cut fabric away. And I just prefer these Ginger scissors. Okay, so there's that one, and then I'll just do the same thing here. I'll just One more side here. I'll just cut a straight away here.
How many fabrics did you go through on that one?
That's just one layer. One layer. And you can angle the scissors however you want, whatever's comfortable. Some people think you need to have it angled a certain way to cut close to the edge, but just whatever works for you, whatever's comfortable. So there's that. And this big piece here, I'll have to get through two layers on this purple here. No, that's not the purple I want. That one. It's pink. Fuchsia. Just using the stitches as a guide. Just pressing right along those. Snip. Snip. And that's done. So now I'll just finish the rest. Show you later. All right, so here's the back side that's been cut out. And now I'll go to the front. All right, now that we're on the front and getting started, there's several ways to make sure you're getting into the right layer or not going through all to the bottom. Once you insert your whatever you're going to use to cut into the fabric, you can always flip it over to see if you can see that seam ripper or whatever it is you put in there, the pen or the scissors or whatever. And another thing is you can also look to see the color. So I can see there's a little bit of teal there. So I know I'm at the right layer. So I'm ready to start that next one. All right, so there's the front of it, the front cutaway. I can already see some things I'll change on the next one. But we'll finish it up and see what it looks like as a cube. All right, so I've painted the back side for continuity from the front to the back. And I'm getting ready to sew this little edge right here. So I just hot cut those two together, the front and the back. And now we're just ready to sew that down, fold it, sew it again, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, so one of the things that I do when I sew these kites is I don't like to stuff fabric through the arm here and cause creases and wrinkles. So I do a lot of rolling, and so this is just an example where I've rolled. I use a little mini clothespin to hold it for me. I kind of take pride in not having creases or wrinkles in my kites when I build them. And so I'm always cautious and careful and make sure I roll things to make them go through the machine a lot easier than getting bound up. All right, now that I've got that back panel sewn on one side, I need to square up along the top. So I'm just putting that straight edge on there, and I'm just going to trim all this off here to make sure it's one straight continuous line, and then do the same thing on the bottom of it, and then put a hem on the top and bottom. And finally the pockets, 6 of the pockets before I put the finishing side together. All right, something else that I like to do is I make all my pockets in advance. So I have, 50 pockets already made up of different sizes, and the variety of things that I use to build a kite. So these are the pig nose tie downs for the spine and spreader to go through. And I just make those all up in advance so that I don't have to take time when I'm building a kite to stop and make those. I just pull them out of the pocket and ready to sew them on. All right, so another silly waste of time that I do is paint the pockets on the cube kites, or at least some of them. So it doesn't have a white pocket on the back side. Just match the color of the fabric. So one of the advantages of hot cutting two sides together or pieces together So when I sew them, they're not going to slip. Nothing's going to come apart. I don't have to tape it or tack it or spray mount it or do anything like that. It's just hot cut together. I can just sew that seam down there and be done with it. All right, got all the pockets sewn on now and just ready to put some spars in it. And with these fittings, I came up with this idea and to combine the end cap with the connector. And in collaboration with Lindsey Johnson, he printed them up, and we've got these little H fittings also for the spreaders so that the spreaders don't slide. And yeah, Lindsey Johnson does a good job on these. Okay, we'll get this put together. All right, there we go. One cube kite finished. Just needs a little bridle loop up here at the top. And good continuity on the sides. The color went well there. So a 15-inch cube, and just need to get some wind. We'll take it out flying. And the final piece is the bag. A little artwork on it and signed. So that's a wrap. We're done with that cube kite.